The internet is shaking tonight. Mendeecees' name has exploded across every timeline, every blog, every fan page. And the reason? One woman, yes, that Jasmine, the same one who's been quiet for months, just went live and told the world a story that has left fans speechless. Her voice was trembling, the chat was flooding with thousands of comments per second, and people couldn't look away. "I'm tired of being painted like the villain," she said, looking straight into the camera. "It's time y'all hear what really happened." The live started calm, but within minutes, it turned into chaos. Fans who thought they'd heard every version of Mendeecees' past were suddenly questioning everything. Jasmine began describing nights in Atlanta, phone calls that were never meant to be recorded, and receipts she claimed were hidden for years. She leaned closer to the screen, whispering, "He told me not to say anything, but I kept everything." Comments poured in. "Girl, don't play with us," one fan wrote. Another screamed, "Drop the proof." Even celebrities started lurking in the chat. People recognized verified accounts popping up. Watching it all unfold, Jasmine reached for her phone, scrolled, then flashed what looked like screenshots of messages, her hands shaking slightly. "You see this?" she said. "This ain't edited. This is the truth." Within minutes, clips of the live were reposted on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. People started tagging Yandi, Mendeecees' wife, demanding a response. "What's going on? Why's she saying real story? Who's lying?" Every fan page turned into a battlefield of opinions. Was Jasmine exposing him for clout, or finally freeing herself from a secret that had been haunting her? One moment, Jasmine's voice cracked. She said, "I wasn't supposed to say anything. They warned me." The word "they" hit hard. Fans started speculating. Was she talking about producers, lawyers, or someone inside Mendeecees' circle? The tension in the comments was electric. Every sentence she spoke added fuel to a fire that was spreading faster than anyone could contain it. Then she dropped the line that made the internet stop. "He wasn't who y'all think he is. Not at home. Not with her. Not with me." Her tone shifted, part pain, part defiance. Fans clipped that moment instantly. Within an hour, #Mendeecees exposed and #Jasmine live were trending worldwide. The story was no longer just gossip, it was a storm. And while Jasmine's live ended abruptly, screen froze, comments still flying. What came next changed everything. Within 30 minutes, Yandi posted something cryptic on her story. Just 3 words. "I warned you." Fans lost their minds. What did she mean? Who was she talking to, Jasmine or Mendeecees himself? Now, the internet is divided. Some say Jasmine finally told the truth. Others think she's stirring chaos for revenge. But one thing's certain after tonight, nothing about Mendeecees' story feels the same. And the secrets Jasmine hinted at, those might just destroy everything he's built. The question now is, how much deeper does this go? Because according to Jasmine's last words before the live cut off, that wasn't even the half of it. Under the pale glow of her ring light, Jasmine sat in silence for a long moment before speaking again, her eyes distant but steady. She said softly, "You think you know a man until you see what he's like when the cameras are off." That single line sent shivers through her audience. Comments exploded across the live. People wanted to know what she meant. She adjusted her hoodie, leaned forward, and whispered, "Mendeecees isn't who he pretends to be. And I kept quiet out of fear. But I can't anymore." She started describing a timeline nobody had heard before, painting vivid scenes from years back when everything between them supposedly began. She said he used to call late at night, not as a star, not as Yandi's husband, but as a man who was lost and desperate for something real. Jasmine's tone was calm but cutting. He would talk about his guilt, she said, how fame had turned his life into a script he didn't even write. And I felt sorry for him. That's how he got in my head. She stopped to sip from her cup, looking down, as if remembering details she wished she could erase. Viewers flooded the comments with disbelief. "No way," one said. Another wrote, "She lying for clout." But Jasmine didn't flinch. She looked straight into the lens. "You can call me a liar if you want," she said, "but I got proof. I kept the messages, the recordings, the receipts." Her phone chimed as new followers joined the live. Within minutes, over 50,000 people were watching. "He'd send me voice notes," she continued, her voice shaking now. "He'd say he couldn't breathe in that house. He'd say I was the only one who listened." She scrolled through her phone, hesitating, and then pressed play on a short audio clip. A man's voice, deep, unmistakably familiar, came through. "I just need peace, Jazz," the voice said. "They don't understand me." Fans froze. Some screamed in the comments that it sounded exactly like Mendeecees. Others said it was edited. Jasmine just looked at the screen, tears welling. "You hear it? That's what I lived with for months. confusion, guilt, and silence. She explained how things started spiraling when rumors began surfacing about her and him. He told me not to say a word, she said. He said if I ever spoke up, I'd ruin everything for everyone. And I believed him. She laughed bitterly. But the truth, it was already ruined. Because living in lies destroys you slowly. People watching began tagging Yandi. Within seconds, her name was trending again. Jasmine ignored the chaos in the comments. She said, I'm not here to hurt her. I'm here to tell what really happened. I was never the villain they painted me as. I was just another woman trying to hold on to something that wasn't mine. The live took a darker turn when Jasmine started talking about trips to New York, secret meetings, and the constant fear of being caught. He'd tell me, you know I got you, right? She said, mimicking his tone. And I'd believe it. Until he disappeared for weeks and came back with excuses. She wiped a tear away, shaking her head. He played both sides like a pro. Family man on TV, lost soul behind closed doors. As she spoke, fans began sharing screenshots of Yandi's old interviews, dissecting her words, matching timelines, trying to prove Jasmine's story was real. Even gossip blogs started going live simultaneously to react in real. One headline popped up instantly. Jasmine breaks silence, Mendeecees double life exposed. The chat turned wild when Jasmine mentioned an incident in Atlanta. She said, there was one night one I'll never forget. He showed up unannounced, said he couldn't go home, said he needed to talk. He sat on my couch for hours, crying about pressure, money, and family. She looked down again. That was the night I realized he wasn't just a man caught between two women. He was caught between two worlds. Then came the part that made even her haters pause. Jasmine said, he told me something that night, something I never repeated till now. She hesitated, hands trembling, before whispering. He said he never planned on marrying Yandi when he did. He said it was business. He said the show needed it. Gasps filled the live chat. Thousands of comments flooded in, all in caps, all screaming disbelief. That's a lie. She's done. Girl, you've gone too far. But Jasmine didn't stop. I'm not saying this to be messy, she said quietly. I'm saying it because for years, I've carried a story that wasn't mine to carry. And I'm tired. The screen flickered for a second, her connection glitching as her phone buzzed nonstop from calls coming in. They calling me now, she muttered. They want me to stop, but I can't. She placed her phone down, leaned closer, and said, you can't silence me anymore, because the world deserves to know how deep this goes. Fans started screen recording every second, fearing she'd delete it later. Jasmine looked directly into the lens again. You think it's easy being the other woman. You think I wanted that, she said. I didn't. I begged him to leave me alone. But he kept coming back. He'd say, you're my peace. She laughed bitterly again. Peace? Nah. I was just his escape route. And then, just as her tears began falling, her doorbell rang. She froze. Hold up, she whispered, looking toward the noise. The chat exploded. People started typing. Girl, don't open it. Stay live. Record everything. Jasmine hesitated, stood up, and disappeared from the frame for a moment. Muffled voices could be heard. When she came back, she looked shaken. That's how you know they watching, she said. I can't say who, but they just tried to show up. Her audience was now convinced something serious was happening. Hashtags were spreading like wildfire, and every gossip outlet was reposting the live clips. Jasmine sighed, wiped her face again, and said, they think I'm scared, but I'm not. I've been quiet too long. Her eyes hardened. If anything happens to me, just know everything I said was true. And there's more. The energy in the room shifted. The live chat slowed down for a moment, as if everyone collectively held their breath. Jasmine's voice dropped to a whisper. I got emails. I got contracts. I got people who saw everything. She scrolled through her phone, showing blurred documents on the screen. You think I'm bluffing? I kept everything because one day, I knew I'd need to protect myself. Her phone buzzed again, and she shook her head. They trying to shut me down, she muttered. But it's too late now. Y'all already heard it. She took another deep breath, staring straight at her reflection on the screen. Mendeecees told me secrets he never told anyone, and I didn't want to believe half of them, but now, after everything, I do. Fans started posting clips titled Jasmine shaking live after mystery knock and Yandi reacts with silence. But Jasmine wasn't done yet. She leaned forward again and said, you wanna know the craziest part? It wasn't just about me and him. There were others. Things he did that could ruin more than one reputation. Her voice softened. I tried to protect him once, she said, because I thought he'd do the same for me. But when the rumors came out, he acted like I didn't exist. That's when I realized what kind of man he really was. She took another pause, her breathing heavy, eyes red. You can't build love on lies. Not even fame can cover that up forever. The comments poured in faster than ever, flooding the screen with disbelief, anger, and heartbreak. Jasmine's story wasn't just gossip anymore, it felt like confession, revenge, and warning all at once. And the way she ended that first hour of her live left the audience frozen when she said, "This is only the beginning. You think you know the story? I'm about to show you the receipts that change everything." She reached for her second phone, the one she claimed was her evidence folder, and said quietly, "They thought I'd delete it all, but I backed everything up." Her fingers trembled slightly as she unlocked it, the faint sound of notifications buzzing in the background. The chat was spinning so fast it was unreadable. Jasmine exhaled slowly, almost like she was preparing herself for a fight she knew she couldn't undo. "The night before he went back to New York," she began, "he called me crying, said he couldn't do it anymore, that he was living a lie." Her tone hardened. "But what broke me wasn't that he said it. It was that he said it like he expected me to fix it, like I was supposed to carry his guilt while he kept smiling for the cameras." She played another clip, this time a video. The sound was muffled, but you could hear a man's voice say, "If they find out, I'm done." Jasmine looked at the camera. That's him. Scared, panicking. And then the next day, he went live with Yandy, talking about loyalty and growth. Fans erupted. Thousands typed, "We need part 2. He lied to everyone, and not the same man we saw on TV." The story had officially crossed from gossip to obsession. Jasmine wiped her face again, this time laughing through tears. "You know what's crazy? He told me once, people only believe what they want to believe. And I used to think he was talking about haters. Now I know he was talking about himself." Her phone buzzed again. She read a text, her expression shifting. "They really doing this now?" she whispered. "Okay, cool." She placed the phone face down. "Y'all, they trying to spin it. They saying I'm unstable. But if I was lying, why they calling me right now? Why they scared?" She leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Because I got names. I got dates. I got things that would burn bridges in this whole industry." One viewer commented, "Girl, you better be careful." Another wrote, "Save the files, post them everywhere." Jasmine shook her head. "I already sent them to someone I trust," she said. "Even if they delete my page, the truth will come out." She paused for a moment, staring into the camera. "You ever love somebody so much that you forget who you are? That was me. I wasn't chasing a man, I was chasing closure. And all he gave me was secrets." She smiled bitterly. "He used to call me from blocked numbers, just to talk about how tired he was. Tired of pretending. Tired of pressure. But when it came time to be honest, he hid behind silence." Then Jasmine leaned back, eyes narrowing. "The funniest part, some of y'all think I'm the only one, but I wasn't." The comments section froze. "Yeah," she said softly. "There were others. Not just me. Women," he confided in. "Women who were promised things. Women who thought they mattered. And some of them, they reached out to me recently." She picked up her phone and scrolled through messages. "You see this? That's a DM from a woman who said she met him during a charity event. Said he told her the same lies." She looked exhausted, but determined. "They used to tell me to protect the brand," she said, half smiling. "Protect the image. Protect the narrative. Well, I'm done protecting lies. This brand broke me." Suddenly, her screen froze for a moment. When it came back, the lighting flickered and the sound distorted. "My Wi-Fi trippin' now," she said sarcastically. "Nah, they playing with it." The chat blew up, people shouting for her to restart the live, others begging her to stop before something happened. Jasmine stayed calm. "No, we not stopping," she said firmly. "Y'all waited years for the truth. Tonight, you getting it." She went quiet for a few seconds before speaking again. "He told me once, if you ever talk, I'll deny everything." She smiled faintly. "That's why I kept proof. I knew one day, I'd need to remind him who taught me how to survive in silence." Her voice softened. "I didn't want to destroy him. I wanted peace. But peace don't live in lies." She looked down at the floor, inhaled deeply, then said, "And if Yandy, watching this right now, I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because the man you defending ain't the man you think he is." That one line lit up every social platform. Within minutes, hashtag Jasmine vs Yandy started trending. Fans split into sides, half saying Jasmine was telling the truth, the other half calling it revenge. Jasmine didn't engage. She whispered, "The truth always makes people uncomfortable. I get that." She opened another folder on her phone. "But since they say I'm lying, let me show y'all one more thing." The screen showed what looked like a blurred photo of two people sitting close together in a hotel lobby. She said, "This was Atlanta, 2019. He said it was business. Funny how business looks when you smiling like that." The chat exploded again. Jasmine quickly hid the photo and said, "I ain't here to expose pictures. I'm here to expose patterns." She sat back, her voice breaking slightly. "He once told me I was the only person who saw the real him. But maybe that's the problem. Too many people see the real him now." The room grew quiet. She let the silence sit before saying, "I don't know how he sleeps at night. Maybe he convinced himself he's a good man. Maybe he forgot who he used to be. But I remember. And that's why I'm speaking." She picked up a framed photo from her table, one she'd flipped face down earlier. The audience caught a glimpse of her and Mendeecees smiling together, both looking happy and relaxed. She stared at it for a long time before putting it aside. "That's the man y'all never saw," she said. "The one who laughed, cooked, talked about dreams. And then he turned around and called me a mistake." Her phone lit up again with missed calls one after another. Jasmine ignored them. They can threaten, they can lie, they can deny. But one thing they can't do, erase the truth. She exhaled deeply. "You know what hurts the most? I still loved him after everything. I loved the man behind the chaos. And maybe that's my mistake." The live timer hit an hour and a half. Jasmine looked drained but unbroken. "This ain't for sympathy," she said softly. "It's for closure." Her voice cracked again. "And if he's watching, yeah, you said you'd tell the truth one day. I guess that day never came. So I did it for you." The screen filled with hearts and shocked emojis, the chat scrolling faster than anyone could read. Jasmine leaned back in her chair, the weight of everything settling in her expression. "I said this was only the beginning," she whispered. "And I meant it. Next y'all gonna hear what he said about the people closest to him, the people who think they safe." And just as she reached for another file on her phone, the screen glitched again, audio distorting into static. Jasmine's voice came through faintly. "Don't go nowhere. It's about to get real." And then the screen went black. When the live finally came back, Jasmine's face was lit only by the phone screen, her expression sharper now. "They really think they can scare me," she said, her voice low and steady. "But I'm still here." Her tone had shifted, less emotional, more resolved. She adjusted her hair, took a deep breath, and continued. "Before my Wi-Fi went out, I was about to show y'all something that connects everything. This ain't just about me and him. It's about what's been happening behind closed doors for years." She opened her messages again, scrolling through hundreds of screenshots. "Y'all remember that time he went quiet for a few months? When he said he was focusing on family?" She raised an eyebrow. "That wasn't family time. That was cleanup time. Fixing lies. Paying off people to stay silent." The live chat exploded instantly. "Receipts or it didn't happen," someone wrote. Jasmine smiled faintly. "You think I came here unprepared? Please." She tapped on a message thread. "He told me straight up. They can't find out. It'll ruin everything." Those were his exact words. She paused, letting the tension sink in. See, he played the game well. He knew how to cry on camera, how to make people feel sorry for him. But what y'all don't know is what happens after the cameras go off. The man who preaches loyalty had a whole other life. He made promises he never planned to keep. She leaned in, her voice trembling slightly. "I remember the night he called me from a blocked number after the reunion taping. Said he was sitting in his car, outside the studio, couldn't face going home. He said, 'Jazz, I wish I could start over.' I told him, 'Then do it. Be honest.' He said, 'I can't. They'll destroy me.'" She stopped for a moment, eyes glistening. "And that's when I realized, he wasn't afraid of losing love. He was afraid of losing control." Comments poured in faster. Fans wrote, "This is deep. He manipulated both women. Where's Yandi right now?" Jasmine ignored most of them and pressed play on another short audio clip. A faint male voice said, "Don't post that, Jasmine, please." She looked at the screen. "That's him. Begging. That's the real Mendeecees y'all never saw." The screen shook as she set her phone down and wiped her face. "You know what's worse than being lied to?" she asked quietly. "Being made to feel like you're the crazy one for knowing the truth." Her voice wavered, but she didn't stop. "He used to say, 'We got a bond nobody can break.' And I believed it. I really did. Till I found out he was saying the same thing to someone else." Someone commented, "He played all y'all." Jasmine smirked. "No, he played himself, because the truth always comes back around." She looked off camera, as if remembering something. "He once told me, 'You'll never say anything. You care too much.' Maybe he was right back then. But now, I care about peace more than I care about protecting his image." She picked up a small notebook from the table. This, she said, holding it up, is everything he didn't want people to see. Notes, calls, plans. He thought I wasn't paying attention, but I was. Every time he said he was traveling for business, I wrote down the dates. Every time he said he was off the grid, I knew where he was. She flipped through pages, eyes scanning her handwriting. And let me tell you something, it's worse than y'all think. Her tone darkened. You ever wonder why certain people stopped filming with him? Or why some scenes never made it to air? Because too much truth was in them. She took a sip from her drink, letting that sink in. The producers knew. They just couldn't risk it messing up the brand. The chat grew more chaotic. Fans started tagging other reality stars, begging them to join the live. Jasmine laughed under her breath. Oh, they watching. Trust me, they all watching. And they nervous. She scrolled again. You see this? She held up a message where a contact saved as M had written, delete that pic. I can't have that out there. Jasmine tilted her head. You can delete your messages, but not mine. I keep everything. Her expression softened again. This ain't just a scandal. This is what happens when people forget that fame don't erase what you do in the dark. She sighed. He'd sit there, talk about legacy, family, loyalty, but behind the scenes, he was juggling lies like trophies. Then she leaned closer, almost whispering. You know what he said the last time we talked? He said, you'll regret this. She nodded slowly. Nah, I think he will. The chat went wild again. Someone commented, this is gonna break the internet. Another wrote, Yandi better say something soon. Jasmine shook her head. She probably already knows. She just doesn't want to face it. Then her phone buzzed again, this time with a voice message. She listened privately, her face tightening. Wow, she muttered. So now they threatening me. That's cute. She looked at the camera again. If anything happens to me, just know, I ain't make nothing up. I told y'all the truth. For a few seconds, she didn't speak, just sat in silence, letting the sounds of incoming notifications fill the air. Then she said quietly, you know what hurts me the most? He once said, I don't want to be like my father. And now, he's worse. Because at least his father never pretended to be perfect. Her eyes glistened again as she continued. I tried to forgive him so many times. Even after the disrespect, the lies, the broken promises. I told myself he was just confused, that he'd come clean one day. But that day never came. Instead, he chose to make me the villain. She looked down at her phone again. So now, the same fans who once dragged me for telling my truth, y'all watching me prove what I said all along? She scrolled, stopping on a text that read, don't do this, please. Think about the kids. She looked up. I did think about the kids. I thought about them every single time I kept quiet. But protecting him means protecting pain. And I'm done carrying that. Her voice steadied again, calmer now but heavier. He wanted to build an empire on secrets. I'm not here to destroy it. I'm just here to remind him that truth don't disappear. She leaned back, folded her arms, and said softly, he can run, deny, post family pictures, give interviews, but when the cameras go off, he'll still have to live with what he did. The live counter ticked higher, over 120,000 people now watching. Jasmine gave a small, tired smile. It's funny, she said. He used to call me his peace. Now I'm his storm. Then she leaned closer once more and whispered, and I haven't even told y'all about the night in Miami yet. The moment she said Miami, the live chat blew up. The comments flooded in faster than ever. Not Miami again. Girl, what happened in Miami? Spill it all right now. Jasmine took a deep breath, eyes narrowing slightly. Yeah, Miami, she said, her tone colder now. That's where everything started falling apart. She reached for her drink, took a slow sip, and then began. He told me that trip was business. He said he was meeting some people about a new project. But the truth, that trip wasn't about business at all. She looked down for a moment, as if deciding whether to continue. Miami was where I realized I wasn't just a secret. I was a liability. Her voice cracked slightly. He had another woman there. Not Yandi. Someone else. And he made the mistake of leaving his phone unlocked in the hotel room. Fans went wild in the comments. Jasmine nodded slowly. Yeah, I saw everything. Messages, pictures, plans. I didn't even touch the phone. I just sat there, staring, trying to understand how a man who cried to me about honesty could be lying to 3 women at once. She shook her head. When he came back into the room, I didn't even argue. I just said, so this is who you really are. He froze. He knew. She smiled bitterly. You ever see guilt in someone's eyes before they even speak? That's how I knew he'd been living double, maybe triple lives. She paused for a second, staring into the screen. He tried to talk his way out of it. Said it was just business talk. I laughed in his face. Business don't sound like love messages, and it sure don't look like private dinners. The live audience went crazy again. Some fans said she should stop, others told her to keep going. Jasmine ignored both sides. He got angry when he realized I wasn't crying. I think that scared him more than the truth, she said. He told me, "You don't know what it's like being me." And I said, "You don't know what it's like being used." He stormed out, slammed the door, and that was the last time I saw him in person. Her voice softened. But that wasn't the end. She scrolled through her phone again and said, he started texting from new numbers after that, sometimes pretending it wasn't him, other times, just checking to see if I'd talk. But I always knew. She tilted her head slightly, smiling faintly. He had a pattern. He'd disappear when things got messy, then come back acting like nothing happened. Classic Mendeecees. She sighed, staring at the comments. People always think the drama is fake, that it's all for cameras. But what I went through was real pain. Y'all don't know how it feels to see someone you cared for act like you never existed once the lights come on. Then her expression changed, more serious now. But what made Miami worse wasn't just him. It was who showed up that night. She paused. Somebody came to that hotel who wasn't supposed to be there. Fans started spamming who. Say the name. Jasmine leaned in, her eyes locking on the lens. A certain producer, someone very close to him. The comments blew up with guesses. Jasmine nodded slowly. Yeah, y'all probably right. I won't say the name yet, but let's just say that person told me, if you love him, you'll keep your mouth shut. And I did. For years. She exhaled deeply. But keeping quiet only protected him. It never protected me. Her phone buzzed again, and she glanced at it with annoyance. They still calling, she muttered. Now they using burner numbers. She shook her head. They don't get it. I'm not scared anymore. Then, her tone turned sharp again. You know what's funny? That same producer went on interviews later, defending him, talking about how he's grown, how he's changed. But if people knew what went down in that hotel room, they'd never say that again. The live feed flickered slightly. Jasmine looked at the screen, half smiling. They trying to mess with the connection again. But that won't stop me. Miami was the beginning of the end, because that's when I saw how far he'd go to protect his image. He told me that night, "You'll ruin me if you talk." I said, "Then you should have never given me something to talk about." Fans were now screenshotting every second, tagging blogs, and reposting clips. Jasmine continued, voice steady but emotional. I left Miami the next morning. No goodbye, no closure, just silence. He didn't call, didn't text, nothing. Then, a week later, I saw him on TV, smiling next to Yandi, talking. Back slowly, exhaling, and just so y'all know, there's still one thing I haven't shown yet. One file that changes everything. The recording. The one where he admits it all. She looked straight into the camera, her voice steady. But that, I'm saving for tomorrow night. And with that, she reached forward, tapped the screen, and said, "See y'all then. Keep your notifications on. Because part 2, that's where it all breaks." The screen went dark. The next night came faster than anyone expected. By the time Jasmine went live again, over 200,000 people were waiting, refreshing, commenting, flooding the chat before she even appeared. The screen blinked once, twice, then there she was. No makeup this time, no music, just dim light and a calm that felt heavier than fear. "I didn't think I'd be back this soon," she said softly, "but after last night, they gave me no choice." Her tone was steady, but her hands betrayed the nerves. "You wouldn't believe how many messages I got. Some from fans, some from people I used to call friends, and some from numbers I don't recognize. All saying the same thing, stop before it's too late." She smirked. Too late for who? The chat exploded. "Girl, don't stop. We here with you." They scared of the truth. Jasmine nodded slowly. "Exactly. Because tonight," she said, leaning closer, "I'm playing the one thing they never wanted out." She reached for her second phone, the same one she'd used before, scrolling until the screen reflected in her eyes. "Remember I told y'all about the recording? The one where he admits it all? Well, this is it." Before pressing play, she said quietly, "This ain't just a man slipping up. This is a confession that connects everything: Miami, New York, the producers, the lies, the silence." She hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen. "And if this live cuts off while it's playing, y'all already know what that means." She tapped play. The audio was faint, muffled at first, then clear enough to make the entire chat freeze. A man's voice, low and unmistakably familiar, said, "I messed up, Jazz. I shouldn't have dragged you into it. They warned me. They said if the truth got out, it would destroy me. Jasmine's breathing could be heard in the clip. Then his voice again, but you were there. You saw everything. You know it wasn't just me. The chat went wild, comments flying faster than the feed could load. That's him. No wait, he just said it. Jasmine paused the clip halfway, letting the silence sink in. You hear that? She said quietly. He admitted it. He said, they warned him. Who's they? The same people I told y'all about. She took a breath, pressed play again. The man's voice continued. I don't even trust them no more. They got files on everybody. If they go down, they taking all of us with them. Jasmine's voice cracked as she said, this right here is why they've been trying to shut me up. Then she stopped the recording. He said that 2 years ago, she whispered, and since then, they've been trying to clean up every trace of it, but you can't erase the truth. Fans were now convinced. The comments turned from curiosity to chaos. This is bigger than love and hip-hop, someone wrote. She's exposing the whole thing. Another said, girl, save yourself. This is deep. Jasmine smiled faintly. Oh, I'm already saving myself, she said. That's why I recorded everything. She leaned forward, elbows on the table. After Miami, after that recording, I stopped trusting everyone. I told myself, if they ever came for me, I'd make sure the truth came out first. I didn't plan for it to happen like this, but here we are. She reached for a folder on her desk, a thick one bound with rubber bands. These, she said, tapping the top, are contracts, text logs, and receipts. Every lie turned into proof. And since they like to pretend everything I say is fake, I'll read one out loud. She flipped a few pages, eyes scanning until she stopped on a highlighted section. This is from a production email, dated February 2021. She said, it says, and I quote, keep M's personal matters out of season footage. The network can't afford another scandal. She looked up at the camera. So tell me again who's lying. The chat started tagging major gossip blogs, journalists, even other cast members. Jasmine continued reading. They all knew, she said. They all sat in meetings deciding what to show and what to hide. And guess who was the one thing they agreed to erase? Me. She dropped the folder on the table. The thud echoed through the mic. They erased me like I was a stain. Like I didn't matter. Like what he did to me wasn't real. But now, the whole world knows I exist. She exhaled shakily, her eyes glassy. I was young. I believed him. He said he'd protect me. Instead, he used me as a shield. Every time something went wrong, it was Jasmine's fault. Every rumor, every headline, it was all dumped on me while he played the victim. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced down, lips tightening. Now they offering money, she said. They think I can be bought. She scrolled briefly, then read aloud. 5 figures to delete my videos. 6 figures to sign an NDA. Imagine that. They didn't care about my pain, but they care about silence. The audience was livid. Don't take it. Stay strong. We got you. Jasmine smiled faintly. I'm not taking nothing. I already signed away my piece once. Never again. Her voice softened, filled with quiet pain. Y'all know what it feels like when someone you loved turns into a stranger. I used to wait for his calls. Now every time my phone rings, I flinch. She laughed bitterly. Funny how that works. She looked straight into the lens, her tone raw and steady. This story ain't about revenge. It's about truth. Because if I let them bury me again, I'm just another name in a rumor. But tonight, I took my voice back. Then her expression hardened again. And before y'all think I'm done, let me tell you something. He wasn't acting alone. There's someone else behind him. Someone who made sure the lies stayed alive. Someone bigger than Mendeecees himself. The comments exploded with theories. Jasmine leaned closer, voice barely above a whisper. And when I say bigger, I mean power level, bigger. Money, control, contracts kind of bigger. She let that hang in the air for a moment, then said, you'll find out soon. I promise. But for now, just know it wasn't just one man lying to me. It was a whole machine. She glanced at the time on her screen and said quietly, they told me this would ruin me. Maybe it will, but at least now, the ruin is honest. Then she whispered, and Mendeecees, if you watching this, remember that night you said, the truth don't scare me. You lied about that too? And just like the night before, the live ended in a blur of comments, gasps, and disbelief, leaving everyone waiting for what she'd reveal next. When the third night came, it felt less like a live stream and more like an event. Even people who had never watched Jasmine before were tuning in. News outlets were posting countdowns, bloggers were live tweeting, and thousands of fans sat waiting, whispering in comment sections about what she might reveal next. When her camera finally flickered on, she looked different. Her hair pulled back, her eyes tired but clear. I wasn't sure I'd do this again, she said softly. But after everything that happened today, I can't stay quiet. She lifted her phone and showed the screen filled with missed calls, unknown numbers, and unread messages. They're trying every way to reach me now. Threats, apologies, offers. It's all noise. She set the phone down gently and folded her hands together. But what happened today proved one thing: the people behind him are watching every word I say. And that means I hit a nerve. The chat erupted. They scared. Keep going. We got you, Jasmine. She nodded slightly. So tonight, she said, I'm going to tell you about the people who protected him, the money that kept it quiet, and the moment everything started to fall apart. Her voice steadied. After that recording leaked last night, someone from the inside reached out to me. They said, we can't talk here, and sent me a voice note through an encrypted app. The person told me the network had meetings the next morning. They were panicking. They said, find out what Jasmine really has before it hits the press. She looked directly into the camera. So yes, they're scared. She pulled a folded sheet of paper from her lap and read a few words written in black ink. You want to know how deep this goes? That note came from someone who's been in those rooms. They told me that contracts were rewritten to protect him after Miami. They changed clauses, deleted scenes, even paid editors extra to cut entire segments. Fans couldn't believe it. Messages flew across the screen. They covering everything up. This is wild. Drop names. Jasmine's expression hardened. I can't give names yet. But one of them? He's been on that show since day one. She paused, leaning closer. He's the one who told me, you can't win against the machine. She took a breath. But I did start to win when people began asking questions. When y'all started digging up old interviews, comparing timelines, catching contradictions. That's when they realized the narrative was cracking. She reached for a file on her desk. These are screenshots of production memos sent between executives. I can't show them fully, but I can read one line. She held it close and read, if she goes public, we'll spin it as emotional instability. She laughed quietly. Emotional instability. That's their favorite phrase when a woman starts telling the truth. The room was silent except for the hum of her phone. That's what they did to me, she continued. They made me look crazy. I lost jobs, friends, even family because I believed in the wrong man. And every time I tried to move on, his name found me again. Her eyes glistened. One night, after everything blew up, I called him. Not to fight, just to ask why. He didn't pick up. But 2 days later, I got a message from him that said, some stories should stay buried. She paused, her voice breaking slightly. He still don't understand. I'm not digging for revenge. I'm digging for freedom. Someone in the comments asked, why not take it to court? Jasmine gave a tired smile. Because money makes courtrooms quiet. And I'm not looking for a payout. I'm looking for peace. Then she said, there's one more thing I have to tell you. Something about New York. She looked down at her lap, fidgeting with her ring. Before I ever went to Miami, before any of this became public, I went to New York to see him one last time. We met in a restaurant downtown, private booth, late at night. He looked nervous, kept checking the door. I asked him what he was hiding. He said, if you knew what I've done, you wouldn't look at me the same. I told him, then tell me anyway. He laughed and said, nah, you safer not knowing. Her eyes watered again. And that's when I realized whatever he was protecting wasn't just an affair. It was something darker. She leaned closer to the screen, whispering now. That night, he handed me a flash drive. Said, if anything ever happens, this proves it wasn't me. I asked him what was on it. He said, you'll know when you hear it. And then he left. Fans filled the chat with panic. What's on the drive? Play it. Jasmine looked down at her desk and pulled out a small black flash drive. I didn't open it for years, she said. But after last night, I finally did. She took a shaky breath. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't messages or photos. It was audio, long recordings, conversations. Not just him, others, people in power, talking about money, silence, and keeping certain stories buried. She hesitated, then said, I can't play them here. Not yet, but I can tell you what I heard. One voice said, she knows too much. Another said, then by her silence. The chat went wild. Jasmine's expression stayed calm, almost eerily so. They've been buying silence for years, she said. Mine just got too expensive. She sat back, the shadows behind her moving slightly as if someone had passed through the room. She looked around but didn't flinch. If you watching this and you think I'm scared, you're right, I am. But fear don't mean quiet. Fear means I still care. Then her voice grew faint. And Mendeecees, if you're listening, you once said secrets keep people loyal. But loyalty built on lies is a cage. I'm done living in yours. She leaned forward, almost whispering. New York was the beginning. Miami was the breaking point. But the end, that comes next. The screen flickered, her face fading into static before she said one final line. Next time, I'll play the rest of the recording. Then the live cut off again. When Jasmine came back, it wasn't announced. There was no countdown, no post, no teaser. She simply went live in the middle of the night. No background music this time, just the faint hum of traffic through her apartment window. Her voice was quiet when she spoke. I wasn't planning to go live tonight, she said, but something happened that changed everything. She looked down at her hands, clasped tightly together. They found me. The chat filled instantly. What do you mean? Who found you? Are you okay? She shook her head slowly. I woke up to banging on my door. Not cops, not friends. 2 men in suits. Said they wanted to talk about the files. I told them I didn't have them anymore. They didn't believe me. She swallowed hard. They left after 10 minutes. But now I know they're not bluffing. Her voice trembled slightly. They think I'll stop if they scare me, but fear don't work on me anymore. I've been scared for years. And you know what? I'm done. She turned her phone toward the table, revealing the same flash drive from before. This little thing, she said softly, is why they're panicking. And tonight, I'm going to play what's on it. The chat went insane. No way, she's about to do this. Girl, please be safe. Record this live. Jasmine plugged the drive into her laptop, the glow lighting her face. There's a reason I waited, she said. I needed to make sure it was backed up. Now it is. So even if this live cuts off, it's too late for them. She clicked play. At first, it was silence, then the sound of men talking, voices echoing like a secret meeting in a quiet room. One of the voices was clearly Mendeecees. If it comes out, I'm finished, he said. Another man replied, that's why we're moving the money now. She won't trace it. Jasmine froze. You hear that? She whispered. That's him talking about how they moved money under fake names. The other man continued, and what about the girl? Mendeecees sighed audibly in the clip. She's not a problem if she stays quiet. The first man said, make sure she does. We don't need another leak. The chat went wild, full of disbelief, fear, and rage. Jasmine let the audio play a few seconds longer before muting it. They're talking about me, she said softly. That was after Miami. That was when they started cleaning everything up. She took a shaky breath. They talked about me like I was disposable, like I wasn't even human. She leaned forward, tears brimming in her eyes. You know how it feels to hear people plan your silence. It's like dying while still breathing. Her voice broke for the first time since she started the series. I gave that man everything, and this is how he repaid me. The phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, eyes narrowing. See? They watching right now. They just sent me a message. It says, you're making a mistake. She laughed bitterly. The only mistake I made was loving someone who never loved me back. She turned back to the audience. I know this sounds like a movie, but it's real. Too real, and I'm tired of living in fear. She opened another file on her laptop. This one, she said, is labeled cleanup notes. It's a list of people and payments. You'll recognize some of the names. She zoomed in slightly, careful not to reveal everything. See that first name? That's the same producer I mentioned before. The same one who told me to keep quiet for the brand. And look what's next to it, 2OK advance. Hush fee. They paid him to control me, to make me disappear. The room went silent again. Jasmine wiped her eyes with the back of her sleeve. I spent years thinking I was crazy. That maybe I imagined it all. But everything's right here. Then her tone changed, calmer, steadier, more certain. When I first started talking, I thought maybe this was just about closure. But it's not. It's about truth. Because the moment a woman speaks up, the world decides she's too emotional, too bitter, too broken to believe. But tonight, the proof speaks louder than me. She leaned closer, her voice almost a whisper. They called me a liar. But liars don't have recordings. Liars don't have files. Liars don't get chased by men in suits. The comments filled with hearts and messages of support. Some begged her to log off and go somewhere safe. Jasmine smiled faintly, though her eyes stayed fixed on the camera. I'm not going anywhere, she said quietly. If I disappear after tonight, y'all know why. So screen record everything. Then she clicked play again. Another voice came through, this time different. It wasn't Mendeecees, it was a woman. This whole thing's gonna blow up, the woman said. You should have kept her out of it. Mendeecees' voice replied. I tried, but she knows too much. Jasmine's lips trembled. That woman, she said, is someone y'all see on TV every week. Fans began guessing in all caps. Jasmine shook her head. Don't say names yet. Let them confess first. She paused the audio and looked down. I used to pray for him every night. I thought maybe he'd turn around, tell the truth, fix what he broke. But instead, he doubled down. And now he's watching the same truth destroy him. The air felt thick. The chat slowed, full of people typing only one thing: we believe you. Jasmine nodded faintly. I know you do. And that's why I can finally breathe. Her voice softened one last time. Tonight wasn't revenge. It was release. And whatever comes next, whether they try to silence me or bury this, I'm done hiding. She closed the laptop, the sound echoing in the quiet room. Then she looked straight into the lens and said, they built their empire on lies. I built my strength on surviving them. And now, it's their turn to be afraid. She reached forward, whispered, this story ain't over, and ended the live. The live was down for 24 hours before anyone heard from her again. During that time, Jasmine's name stayed trending. Bloggers dissected every second of the flash drive recording. Reaction videos filled time. Some claimed to hear extra voices in the background of the clip. Others swore she'd been silenced for good. But just after midnight, her profile went live again. No intro, no warning. Only Jasmine sitting in a dark hoodie, the light from her screen outlining her face. I didn't disappear, she said quietly. I just needed to breathe. Her voice was raw, like she hadn't slept. The past day's been chaos. People showing up where they shouldn't. Old friends pretending they care. Strangers telling me to stop before I ruin more lives. But what they don't understand is this ain't about ruining lives. It's about telling the truth. She pulled a small stack of printed pages into view. These are the transcripts from the audio. I made copies. They can take my phone, my laptop, even my house, but they can't take these. She thumbed through them until she found the one she wanted. Listen to this line, she said. She read slowly, every word deliberate. If she talks, make it look like a breakdown. She looked straight into the camera. That's the plan. That's how they handle women like me. Paint us as unstable. Get the public to doubt everything. The comment section flooded with hearts and fists. You good, Jasmine? They can't gaslight you anymore. She smiled faintly. I'm good now, because you can't shame somebody who's already lived through the worst. She lowered her voice. Since last night, 3 more women reached out. One of them sent me pictures. Another sent me a voice note. Same story, same pattern. He promised them silence, too. Now they scared. I told them to hold on, I got them. Her tone hardened. This isn't just one man's lies. It's a whole system built to keep those lies safe. They used us to build stories, sell drama, push ratings. They called it entertainment. But it was people's lives. She took a breath and continued. When the first story about me leaked years ago, I was ashamed. I thought maybe it was my fault. I kept replaying everything, wondering what I could have done different. But now I see it clear. The only thing I did wrong was stay quiet. She picked up her phone again, scrolling until she found a message. You see this? She asked, holding it close. This was from him 2 days after Miami. It says, you'll never be able to prove it. I guess he forgot who taught me to record everything. She hit play on another short audio clip. This one was quieter, almost whispered. His voice said, delete it, Jasmine, you don't know what you're messing with. She let the words hang, then stopped it. That's the sound of guilt, she said softly. The sound of a man who knows he's caught. The chat went still for a few seconds. Jasmine looked off camera, then back. I know what y'all thinking, why not just hand all this to the police? I tried, I really did. But when the people you're exposing got friends in every room, doors close before you even knock. Her eyes glistened. So I came here. To the one place they can't shut down without everyone watching. She paused, then said, and now, since y'all been asking about that woman's voice on the tape, yeah, I know who she is. And yeah, she's been acting innocent for years. She didn't say the name, but her mouth almost formed the first letter before she stopped herself. She's still filming, she whispered. She's still posting, pretending nothing's happening, but her part's coming. She can clear it herself, or wait till I drop the rest of the files. She leaned forward again. And Mendeecees said nobody would believe me. Now the world's listening. Your silence is your confession. For a moment, the screen went quiet. Jasmine sat back, her expression calmer now, as though the weight had finally shifted. I don't want revenge, she said. I want accountability. And if telling my truth makes me the villain, then fine. I'll be the villain who told the truth. She reached for the stack of papers again and began tearing them slowly in half. These are copies, she said. The real ones are safe. Every lawyer, every journalist who tried to silence me should know it's already out there. Even if I stop talking, the truth won't then. She looked into the camera one last time. People keep asking me what I want. I want peace. I want him to admit what he did. I want the next girl who walks into a situation like mine to see the red flags and walk away before it breaks her. Her voice dropped to a whisper. He told me once that secrets are power. I learned that truth is louder. The feed lagged for a second. When it cleared, Jasmine smiled, faintly tired, but unshaken. They tried to bury me, she said. They forgot I was a seed. The comments erupted with support as she reached toward the screen, her voice fading into the final line. This chapter's over, but the story's not finished yet. And then, without another word, the screen went black. Hours passed before anyone realized Jasmine had gone live again. This time, there was no warning, no caption, no setup, just her voice, low and steady in the dark. No lights, only the blue flicker from a street lamp leaking through her window. I wasn't gonna come back, she said softly. But I can't leave it like that. Too many lies still floating around. Too many people twisting my story already. She sighed, the kind of sound that comes from exhaustion more than fear. So tonight, I'm telling you what really happened after everything blew up, what they did once they realized they couldn't silence me. She turned her camera toward the table, showing a small pile of printed emails. This is what they sent to blogs today, she said, her voice calm but sharp. Fake statements, fake receipts. They trying to make it look like I made all this up. She picked one up, reading aloud. Jasmine has been struggling with personal issues and has fabricated conversations to gain attention. You see the pattern. Same script, different mouthpiece. They always say personal issues when a woman stops protecting a man. The chat was exploding again, people angry, defending her, telling her to keep going. She nodded once. I expected this. They think if they bury me under enough dirt, nobody will dig for the truth. But they forgot something. Screenshots don't lie. She reached for her phone and held it up to the camera, the faint reflection showing her scrolling through her gallery. You see these messages from his number. This is what they can't erase. Her eyes softened. I ain't proud of all of it. I'm not saying I was perfect. I was in love. I believed him. I thought maybe I could fix something that was broken before I even got there. She paused. But love don't mean silence. Love don't mean covering crimes disguised as mistakes. She glanced toward her window, hearing a car outside, then returned her gaze to the camera. You want to know what they did today? They sent a letter. Real legal letter. Said if I post anything else, they'll sue me for defamation. I laughed. How you gon' sue somebody for telling the truth? How you gon' sue the evidence? She placed the letter down slowly, her hands steady now. See? They still think this is about money or fame. They think if they threaten me enough, I'll delete everything and disappear again. But what they don't get is, I already survived worse. You can't threaten somebody who's already been through hell. She leaned forward. I had people, friends, even call me today saying, Jazz, maybe let it go, it's getting too messy. But where were they when I was getting followed? Where were they when I was scared to walk home at night because I didn't know who was watching? They all quiet till you make noise that shakes their comfort. She went silent for a long second. The only sound was the faint buzz of her phone on the table. I got a message from a blocked number a few hours ago, she said finally. It said, you won't make it to tomorrow. She looked into the camera and smiled sadly. That's fear talking, not mine. The comments slowed, filled now with worried messages, people telling her to get somewhere safe, to go offline. She shook her head. Nah, not tonight, because if I vanish, they win. And I'm not giving them that. Her tone softened again. You know what keeps me going? All the people in my DMs saying, you made me brave. All the women who said, I saw myself in your story. That's why I can't stop. Because this ain't just about Mendeecees anymore. This is about every woman who ever got told to keep quiet for somebody else's peace. She reached down, picked up the flash drive again, the one that had caused everything. This little thing changed everything, she whispered, but it's not the only one. I have backups. Different cities, different hands. So even if they take me out, the story still drops. I made sure of that. She stared into the camera again, her expression unreadable now, equal parts calm and fury. He once said to me, you'll never have power. And tonight, I finally understood power ain't about fame or money. It's about truth. And once you tell it, nobody can take it back. She paused, her breathing slow and measured. They think I'm crazy. Fine. They think I'm obsessed. Fine. But when the truth hits the papers and it will, they'll wish they listened instead of laughed. She reached for her phone again, showing a final message on her screen, an email subject line that read, urgent, damage control. She tilted her head, smirking faintly. Guess they working overtime. Her voice grew quieter, steadier. So this is where we end it. No more hiding. No more fear. I told you everything. And the rest? The rest is already moving. The people they paid off. Some of them already flipped. And when it drops, everyone will know who built their empire on lies. The chat was a blur of hearts, tears, and warnings. Jasmine looked into the camera one last time. To everybody watching, thank you for listening, for believing me when it wasn't easy to. I'm done talking now. The truth's got legs of its own. Then she smiled faintly, almost peacefully, and whispered, "See you when the dust settles." And with that, the live ended for what might be the last time. For almost 2 days, there was nothing. Jasmine's page went quiet. No stories, no reposts, no comments, just silence. Fans started flooding timelines asking where she was. Rumor blogs ran headlines saying she'd gone missing. Others claimed she'd been taken into protective custody. Nobody knew anything until a new post appeared out of nowhere. It wasn't a live this time, just a single video, shaky and dimly lit, like it had been filmed in a hurry. She was sitting in the back seat of a car, hoodie up, seatbelt strapped, the sound of rain hitting the windows. Her voice came low and steady. "I'm okay," she said. "Not safe, but okay." She paused, long enough for a horn to pass in the background. Things got worse after that last live. People showed up outside my apartment. Cars followed me for hours. Somebody even tried to open my door while I was asleep. She laughed, quiet and tired. "So yeah, I had to move." She lifted her phone slightly, showing the dark road through the windshield. "I'm leaving the city for a while. Not running, just getting space. They think they can scare me into silence. They still don't understand who they're dealing with." The comment feed was already exploding. Fans begging her to go to the police, to call somebody, to stay online so they could watch in real time. Jasmine shook her head. "Nah, no more lives. No more posts for a while. I said what I had to say. Now it's out of my hands." She reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out another flash drive, smaller than the first. "This ain't the same one," she said. "This one's got everything. Not just the recordings, but the paperwork, the transfers, the phone logs. I made copies and sent them where they need to go." She smiled faintly. "By the time they figure out who has them, it'll be too late." The phone slipped for a second, catching a flash of another figure in the driver's seat, just a hand on the steering wheel. Nothing else visible. Jasmine steadied the camera. "I'm not alone," she said. "People been helping me quietly. Not everyone in that circle's dirty. Some of them want the truth out too." She took a deep breath. "You want to know what scared them the most? It wasn't me talking. It was me surviving. Because people like him, people like them, they rely on silence, on shame. Once that breaks, they got nothing left to control." She looked out the window, then back at the camera. "I heard from somebody today. A woman. Said she used to work for the network. Said she saw everything, the payments, the scripts, the messages they hid. She said, 'I'm ready to talk.'" Jasmine smiled slightly. "That's how it starts. One truth makes room for another." Her voice softened. "And to Mendeecees, I know you watching. You always watching. I ain't angry anymore. Not even sad. I'm just done. Whatever happens next, it's on you." She looked straight into the lens, rain streaking across the window behind her. "The truth's bigger than me now. It's in motion. You can't stop it. No more lies, no more spin, no more pretending to be the good guy. You built a kingdom on secrets, and the walls just cracked." A text tone chimed on her phone. She looked at it, eyes narrowing. "They still sending warnings," she muttered. Same line. "Stop before you get hurt. I told them already. I've been hurt. There's nothing left to take." She turned the camera toward herself again. "So this is it. I'm logging off for a while. Not disappearing, just resting. I've done my part. Now the truth will do the rest." She smiled again, the kind that comes after a long fight. "Thank you to everybody who believed me. Thank you for listening. Keep watching. When the next drop hits, you'll understand everything." Then she leaned closer, whispering one last line. "This was never a story about revenge. It was a story about survival. And survival always wins." The video cut off right there. No fade, no goodbye, just darkness and the faint echo of rain. No video followed for almost a week. Her accounts sat untouched, messages unanswered. People filled the silence with theories, some hopeful, some dark. Then, late one night, her page updated again. It wasn't a live stream this time. It was a pinned post with a short caption, "For the record." The clip opened on a plain motel room, curtains drawn, air conditioner humming. Jasmine sat cross-legged on the edge of the bed, a folder on her knees. Her voice was quieter than before, but steady, measured. "I said I'd step back," she began, "but before I disappear for real, I need to leave things clear. She opened the folder and lifted a few pages. These are copies of every statement I've given to journalists, to lawyers, to anyone who'll listen without twisting my words. I'm putting them online tonight. No more secrets. She looked off camera for a second, then back. Some of you told me to stop talking about him, that it's over? But it's not over for the women still scared to speak. I can walk away only if they can too. She slid one paper toward the camera. This is proof the money transfers weren't fake. I blacked out names so nobody else gets hurt, but the amounts are there. You'll see the same dates as the recordings. She laid another page beside it. And this is from the network's legal department. It's their apology letter. They call it a misunderstanding. I call it a confession. The comments were already filling with disbelief. Jasmine smiled faintly. I know. It's a lot. But I want you to remember one thing. The truth doesn't need to scream. It just needs to exist. She set the papers down and looked directly into the lens. They've been quiet lately. That tells me everything. When powerful people go quiet, it's because they're planning, not because they've made peace. That's why I'm leaving for a while. Not hiding, just getting somewhere they can't reach me. Her expression softened. When I started all this, I thought I was fighting one man. Turns out, I was fighting an idea that women like me don't get believed unless we bleed for proof. I bled enough. She wiped at her eyes quickly, as if refusing to let tears fall on camera. This right here. This is my last message. She picked up a phone charger, wound it around her fingers, then said quietly, if you see news stories pop up tomorrow saying I recanted, I didn't. If they say I was paid off, I wasn't. The files are already in the right hands. Whatever they release next is theirs, not mine. She took a deep breath, her tone gentler now. Mendeecees, if you ever hear this, I hope you tell the truth someday. Not for me, for the people you still lie to. And when you do, remember this moment. I kept your secrets long enough. She turned her gaze toward the window, where the first hint of daylight touched the curtains. The internet turned my life into a story. I guess that's fine. Just make sure when you tell it right. Tell them I tried to warn him. Tell them I told the truth. For a few seconds, she didn't move, just listened to the sound of traffic outside. Then she said, almost to herself, I finally feel free. She reached forward, the camera trembling slightly as her hand brushed the lens. Goodbye for now, she whispered. The screen faded to black, and the post title changed a minute later to one single word. Archive. After that last post, her profile stayed untouched for nearly 2 weeks. No uploads, no comments, no activity at all. The algorithm eventually stopped recommending her videos. The noise that once surrounded her name began to cool into quiet speculation until one evening, a video appeared on a random gossip channel. No intro, no host, just a screen recording of an email timestamped that same morning. The subject line read, Final upload, Jasmine unlisted link. The footage opened with static and a faint hum, then resolved into Jasmine's face. She looked calmer, almost serene, sitting at a desk somewhere that wasn't familiar. Wood-paneled walls, a single lamp, a window behind her, showing pine trees and gray sky. If you're seeing this, she said, her voice low but firm, it means everything's finally where it's supposed to be. She smiled slightly. They tried. The calls, the letters, the offers, everything. And for a while, I almost gave in. I thought maybe disappearing would make it stop. But I realized the only thing that ever scared them was proof. She reached off screen and set another flash drive down next to a small stack of printed papers. These are copies of the originals. They've been uploaded to 3 different servers. If anything happens to me, they'll go public automatically. She took a slow breath. I'm not making this for attention. I'm making it for closure. The story's been told so many times, twisted by so many mouths, that I need one version that's mine. Her gaze softened. When I started all this, I was angry. I wanted people to hurt the way I did. But truth isn't revenge, it's relief. Once you speak it, it stops owning you. For the first time, she let out a small laugh. Funny thing is, I don't even hate him anymore. I see him for what he is, a man who built a world out of lies and forgot that worlds like that always collapse. Maybe he'll watch this. Maybe he won't, but I know he hears me. She leaned closer. They told me the story would fade, that people would move on, and maybe they will, but the truth doesn't fade. It waits. It shows up again when you least expect it. I can live with that. She reached for a small box on the table, opened it, and held up a folded note. This was from someone who worked with him. They said, "Thank you for speaking when we couldn't." That's all I ever wanted to know. It mattered to someone. For a long moment, she was silent. Then she said quietly, "I'm leaving this country for a while. Don't try to find me. I'm safe. and that's all that matters. I'll keep my promise. If the files ever get deleted, they'll resurface. The truth always does. She smiled one last time, tired but peaceful. To everyone who believed me, thank you. To those who didn't, who will, just give it time. She reached toward the camera, whispering, "This is my last goodbye." The screen faded out completely, replaced by a single white line of text. Truth doesn't vanish, it waits. And then the video ended. In the days that followed, screenshots of that final upload spread everywhere. Some said she'd vanished overseas. Others claimed she'd been seen boarding a flight under another name. The files she promised never surfaced publicly, but every few months, a small leak appeared online: emails, audio fragments, notes, all consistent with what she'd described. And with every new fragment, her final words echoed louder. Truth doesn't vanish, it waits. Listen closely, because this part is for you. If you've watched every minute, if you felt every word Jasmine spoke like it came from your own heartbeat, then don't just scroll past this moment. You've seen the way truth can burn through silence. You've watched her go from being doubted to being dangerous just because she dared to speak. This isn't just her story anymore. This is yours too. And what happens next depends on whether you keep it alive. Hit that subscribe button right now. Not later. Not when the next video drops now. Because this story isn't finished. Jasmine's truth is still unfolding, and every time you subscribe, you make sure her voice keeps echoing. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got more unseen footage, more audio, more voices stepping forward to say, "I was there too." They tried to bury her, but the truth keeps pushing through the dirt. You've been part of it just by watching, but now you can become the reason it doesn't die out. Drop a comment below your thoughts, your questions, your theories. Who do you think the producer was? What do you think was really on those recordings? Don't hold back. Speak your mind. Every comment tells the system they can't silence real people anymore. Let them see how many of us are paying attention. And if you believe Jasmine, write it out loud. Type "I believe" in the comments. Flood this video with it. One voice alone is easy to ignore, but thousands echoing the same truth. That's what makes power tremble. That's what forces people to respond. Share this video everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, group chats, anywhere stories travel. Because every share is a reminder that truth travels faster than control. Don't let this story vanish under the next headline. Make sure everyone sees what happens when power gets exposed by someone who refuses to back down. And while you're here, remember this channel isn't about gossip. It's about what happens when the lines between fame and fear blur. Jasmine's story started as drama, but it turned into survival. It turned into proof that no matter how much money or influence someone has, they can't rewrite what's real forever. If you've ever been silenced, if you've ever been told to stay quiet, then you already understand what she fought for. So let this video remind you, your voice matters, your story matters. When you speak, someone else finds courage to do the same. That's why you can't just watch and move on. Subscribe, stay, keep this story alive, because silence is what built their power, and noise is what breaks it. As we wait for the next chapter, think about the pieces we've seen, the recordings, the letters, the fear. Ask yourself how many stories like Jasmine's never get told because the world gets bored too fast. Don't let this one fade. Click that like button so this truth keeps climbing, keeps reaching the people who need to hear it most. Every click, every share, every comment, it pushes her voice a little further beyond the reach of those trying to erase her. And if you're watching this wondering whether she's safe, keep watching, because the next drop won't just be another confession, it'll be the moment everything connects. Jasmine said the truth doesn't vanish. It waits. Well, the wait's almost over. The people who thought they could control the narrative are starting to slip. Pieces of their cover are already cracking. You'll see it soon, right here. So don't just watch and walk away. Help expose the machine. Show them that people still care about what's real. Hit the bell icon so you get notified the second the next upload goes live, because you're going to want to see what comes next. And when you do, come back here. Watch it again. Rewind the parts that shook you. Share the lines that stuck in your head. Be part of what turns one woman's survival into something unstoppable. And for those who came here just to hate, just to doubt, stay too. Because watching truth unfold is its own kind of lesson. Every time you click, you still help it spread. Now take a second to think about how far we've come in this series. From that first live where her voice was shaking, to the last one where she stood unafraid. From being called crazy to becoming the most talked about name in the city. That's what happens when courage meets proof. That's what happens when someone decides to stop hiding. That's why you're still watching. because something in her story hit the part of you that remembers what it feels like to be silenced and want to scream. So do something with that feeling. Hit subscribe, comment, share, talk, because stories like this only die when people stop caring. And tonight, you're proof that people still care. And before you go, listen closely. Truth doesn't need permission. It doesn't need fame. It just needs people brave enough to keep it alive. Jasmine did her part. Now it's your turn. Stay tuned, stay loud, and remember, every time you click play, you tell the world her voice still echoes. Like, comment, subscribe, because this isn't the end. This is where the truth begins to speak for itself.